Global Early Warning Tool can be accessed on the Water, Peace, and Security platform at the address waterpeacesecurity.org. The map and datasets are open and available to all users. So when you access the map, the first thing that you will see is the conflict forecast that was generated based on the previous video. This forecast currently spans Africa, the Middle East, and a portion of Asia. On the map, you can see that peace is colored blue and conflict is broken into two categories, emerging in orange and ongoing in yellow. The difference between these two conflict definitions is whether there has been conflict in the past year or not. On the current map, you can also turn on areas that are experiencing drought. To turn on this layer, you just need to click the button on the right, and this will provide some supplemental information on the extent that water stress is occurring in a given region. The online map also contains other datasets that can be found when clicking on the Add Dataset button. Not all of these variables were important in the machine learning process, but we believe they will create a high-level snapshot of local conditions. Here you can see that the data is organized into categories. We hope that this helps you find data of interest as easily as possible. For example, our water category makes it easy for non-water experts to explore fundamental hydrologic risks like poor water quality, droughts, and floods. These layers can be turned on and off by clicking Add. Once you have added a layer, the map will draw the layers in the order that they are listed. With the visible layers closer to the top, as similar to ArcGIS. If at any point you would like to turn off a layer, you can click on the Viewing Remove button to the right of the dataset. Currently, the map is zoomed out so that the user can compare data across different regions. However, it is also possible to look more closely at local conditions. For instance, we can zoom in or use the search bar to investigate certain locations. Let's zoom in closer to Mali. I'll zoom out a little bit to give a better perspective. So when you search for a location or click on one, the region is outlined with a black line, and the region's name will show up in this brown box to the right. Now, let's bring the forecast to life and investigate the contextual data. The tool offers a range of interactive features to make the analysis as seamless as possible. Let's start with the ACLED conflict events under the conflict group. This shows all conflict events that were used for the forecast. Not only can you explore conflicts by type using the legend, you can also click on an event to find out more information about that event. Look to the widget panel on the right to see the number of fatalities per month through time. Additionally, these interactions are not limited to conflict data. We can see how populations have grown through time as well. For instance, in community, we can turn on the local population density layer. Not only can we see the actual population density, but we can also see the change in population density over the past 16 years on this graph to the side for Sego in Mali. We can also look at the movement of internally displaced people by adding the internally displaced persons dataset under the Migration tab. This data shows the movement of internally displaced people and more information when you click on those events. We can also look at water-related data. For instance, we can turn on the dams layer under Infrastructure, These datasets help us to identify where essential infrastructure, including dams, exist. We can also highlight areas experiencing abnormally wet or dry conditions. Under the Water tab, we'll turn on the 24-month Standardized Precipitation Index. And with this, we can view a time series of that information to see when conditions have been wetter or drier than normal. You can easily access all of this data in one place with the click of your mouse. Although not all of the data sets that you can turn on are related to the conflict forecast, they provide a better understanding of the conditions in your region of interest. Once these areas of early warning or conflict hotspots are identified, then the next step of the WPS process can be initiated, and you can look deeper into the local situation to assess what may be causing the prediction on the ground.
The Global Early Warning Tool provides a great opportunity to combine multiple data sets with the conflict forecast. However, prior to using the forecast, several things should be considered. First, the model is biased towards predicting conflict rather than its absence. This has advantages and disadvantages. On the one hand, the model correctly predicts 86% of all instances of conflict, 98% of ongoing conflicts, and 60% of emerging conflicts. On the other hand, a prediction of conflict does not guarantee its presence. The model's conflict signal is noisy, with half of all conflict predictions representing false positives. These are instances where conflict is forecast but does not actually occur. As the figure on the screen shows, most incorrect predictions represent forecasts with only a 50 to 75% confidence. Based on this track record, users can have high confidence in predictions of ongoing conflict and may feel comfortable acting on this information immediately. However, users should view predictions of emerging conflict as only a first screening. Users can feel assured that our forecast has identified most emerging conflicts, but should recognize that these are likely interspersed with many instances where violent conflict will not actually emerge. Second, the conflict forecast does not incorporate causation. As mentioned, the causes of conflict must be analyzed through regional studies and should not be inferred based on the predictor variables or underlying data on the map. Additionally, the conflict forecast represents violent conflict with 10 or more fatalities within a year. Therefore, not all conflict is considered by the model, and violence may occur despite a forecast of peace. Finally, not all input data on the map is real-time, as several datasets are only released annually. The model is trained to account for this delay, but the user should be aware when inspecting underlying datasets through the interface. Overall, the Global Early Warning Tool provides a powerful and accessible interface that enables users to screen for potential conflict. Based on this analysis, users can identify regions that merit additional evaluation of potential conflict risks, for instance, by engaging with other components of the water, peace, and security process. Following the end of the videos, you will find supplemental readings and activities that will strengthen your understanding of conflict forecasting, as well as navigation of the tool, in order to support your conflict screening in the future.